Recently, I've been struggling with some health issues, and as I was thinking about my circumstances, I thought about how and if my senior management would have offered any empathy in my needing to balance health concerns and showing up at work. I think people are really struggling right now with their leadership demonstrating, or more importantly, not demonstrating empathy in their day to day practice. So I wanted to cover that today. Forbes recently stated that empathy is the most important leadership skill that a leader can have, but that only 40% of their direct reports actually state that their leaders are, in fact, empathetic. Which had me thinking, what is your working environment like? How are your leaders behaving? Do you think that they're empathetic when it comes to your situation or your working environment? Empathetic leadership can help nurture an environment of psychological safety. More specifically, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella had been quoted in saying that empathy not only builds a positive working environment for your staff and your clientele, but makes you a better innovator. Why? Well, Nadella believes that innovation is the result of having at the heart the best interests of those you serve. And I also believe that leaders that demonstrate empathy, well, they not only create working environments that are safe, but they enable staff to exit that fight or flight stress response and then frees them to be more creative, because we're not creative when we're in fight or flight. Additionally, Belinda Parmar, who's the founder of the Empathy Business, is really clear that companies and organizations need to pay close attention to the practice of empathy. And that's because there's a direct link between empathy and commercial success. And the use of empathy is not just of value within your company with your employees, but enables companies to better be connected with their partners, their shareholders, and their clients, which ultimately helps them improve the bottom line of the company. To push even further, CEO of Warby Parker, Neil Blumenthal, provided a perfect story that demonstrates this issue or this principle. When he was director of Vision Spring, which is a nonprofit that has a mission of ensuring that everyone in the developing world has access to eyeglasses, he would be in a village in rural Bangladesh, and he tells a story about how he was in a community of weavers. And he knew that there were vision problems there because no one was wearing glasses. So he asked the question of the group, raise your hand if you have trouble seeing. And no one raised their hand. So he asked the question, raise your hand if you have trouble threading a needle. And then everybody raised their hand. The story is beautiful because it demonstrates that being empathetic means putting yourself in the shoes of others and perhaps changing the questions based on the different perspective that shift has in the perspective of others. So then how can you become more empathetic as a leader? Well, the first way that you can do this, believe it or not, is using coaching techniques. And what are those? Well, the first thing you can do is stop telling people what to do so much and become more curious and ask more questions. This means enabling them to really share their opinions and engaging your staff to provide input into the business that you are doing or that you're into. Then actively listen. Watch for mannerisms, body language, pay attention to repeated words and patterns in the responses of others, because be they employees or clients, it's really important to recognize those patterns. And when you hear bad things, stay calm in times of stress. Offer comfort as appropriate to your staff and to your clients. Remember to create boundaries and respect those boundaries. That's a really key part to being empathetic, because you're trying to understand the views of other people and the feelings of others in the room. And finally, when a client or an employee demonstrates that they're having a hard time in life, maybe they're having health problems or their marriage is falling apart, so other parts of their lives are falling apart, and they're demonstrating maybe some lack of emotional regulation, be curious and supportive and say things like, it seems like things are going really bad for you right now, or things are really difficult for you. What can I do to help support you in this moment? That doesn't mean you sit in the room and cry with them, but you, as a leader, are demonstrating that you get that things are hard for them and that you're there to support them as much as you can or within reason. Empathy is a key component to leading in healthy organizations. So what are you doing, or what are you going to do to help grow your own empathetic muscle? Because it is a muscle. It's something you have to develop. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to see comments down below on how you demonstrate this key component of leadership and how you're seeing it in the leaders that you work for right now. As a whole, if you want to assess your own personal leadership, I do have a self-assessment questionnaire. It's completely free. Click on the link below and do an assessment of where you sit in your behaviors as a leader. And just to say that if you need any help with this, or you want to have a chat with me in terms of developing your own empathetic skills, as a coach, I'm here to help you. There's a link down below where we can have a chat to see how and if I might be able to help you out. Thanks again for being here this week. I do appreciate the time you take. Take care, folks. Until next time.